Here we are. This is the Monday of our last week of daily practice for a while. Exciting. It's kind of a little bit strange to think that after Wednesday, I'm going to just wake up and go into my morning on my own. But I'm actually really excited about it. I'm excited about the new form that my practice can take when I have a little bit of space around it. I'm excited about what I can bring to you of value from my contemplation and my time of also travel that's coming. So stay tuned. It's not the last of me getting on here and doing stuff. It's just that things are going to change. We are in the month of Tara in the temple. Tara is in my archetypal arc of the goddesses. She is the sister. She is there for you. She helps you. She supports you. She tells it like it is. She is deeply loyal. She can get under your skin like nobody else, but in good ways. That is how I see Tara. She helps you to feel strong. She helps you to feel brave. She helps detox your life. She's like the best, smart older sister you could ever want to have. And so we're starting our practices this month with this brief wind horse practice of Tara that was written by the deceased master Patrul Rinpoche. Lume chuksum chidang jitsunma gyayum pakma drome jinti yi daki sitsut pajor nyandratnam yonu dadang yaji sushindu chepar kaje wantang lungta nam yampa sushing chatu yawa long chije lepe lamdu drawa dong sering neme de dang din jurshi. Through the blessing and power of the unfailing Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and of Jetsunma, mother of the Buddhas, noble Tara, may our lifespan merit prosperity and renown increase like a waxing moon, like a rising summer lake. Especially may our good fortune, Wangtong and Windhorse, be healed when they weaken, rejoined when interrupted, raised up when sinking down. May whatever we do turn out well, and may long life, good health, peace, and happiness be ours. Lume chusum chidang jetsunma, galyum pakma drome jintuyi, daki siso pajor nyandratnam, yarnu dadang yarji soshindu, kipar kache wantang lungtanam, nyampa soshing chatu gawa long, chije lepe lamdu drowa dang, sering nime dedang denjur shi. And we are drawing cards from the Buddha Wisdom Shakti Power Oracle. And I just wanted to let folks know that, if you end up missing daily practice, you can go back on my YouTube, and there is a playlist called Daily Devotions. And there's 450 videos of me doing Guanyin practice. You'll never get bored. There'll be you could do a whole year of Guanyin practice without me, if you wanted to. So don't worry, the videos are still there. You can kind of go back and reflect on past lessons. And if you want to hear me chant, you want to chant along with me, I'm still there on YouTube with those recordings. All right, let's see what our card is today. Dorje Drolo, the crazy wisdom, wrathful Buddha. Let go of being logical. A higher wisdom will guide you. And there's Dorje Drolo. Oh, thank you, Tracy. Thank you so much. That's so sweet of you to say. Dorje Drolo, my Lama actually told me about an experience she had with Dorje Drolo, where she and her teacher were doing a Dorje Drolo fire puja, multi-day fire puja, and a wildfire broke out in the weeds near her house, and it burned all the way up to the edge of her property, but then it didn't come onto her property, and the fire was just coming and coming, and She was a little nervous, but they just kept doing the practice. They just kept chanting. They just kept putting their hearts toward Dorje Drolo. And then the fire didn't go near the house. Dorje Drolo is one of the 8 manifestations of Padmasambhava. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Shelby. I think the same about you. And you've been knocking it out of the park, by the way, Shelby, with some of the photos you've been posting recently. Your work just gets better and better and better. And I mean, it's already was good, but like, then you capture these shots, and I'm just like, so totally mutual. Dorje Drolo is one of the 8 manifestations of Padmasambhava, the historical figure who's considered to be the archetype embodiment of all the accumulated knowledge, wisdom, love, and power of the Buddhist tradition. He rides through the jungles of life on a tigress, and he holds a purba, a magical dagger, for his work. Padmasambhava was instrumental in establishing Buddhism in Tibet. He brought it from India in the 8th century. As he traveled through the land, he encountered many demons and spirits that were intent on blocking his progress, and they knew his work was powerful. 13 times during those travels, he appeared as Dorje Drolo to subdue the harmful spirits of the lands and turn them onto the path of Buddhism. In a way, he was the proselytizer of the best kind. He convinced each teaching to come to the aid of the Dharma teaching. He convinced each demon to come to the aid of the Dharma teachings rather than inhibiting them. These creatures are the origins of many of the demonic deities that one sees in Tibetan tankas, horrific monsters from your worst nightmares that have been turned into pussycats. Padmasambhava has 8 major manifestations, that is to say, 8 energetic states that he can take on as a teacher. He transforms his teaching approach for each situation in order to teach in whatever way will work for different students at different times. Dorje Drolo is an example of Padmasambhava's reputation of working outside the norms of culture, a man who discarded the path of the normal, the logical, conventional. There's a term in Buddhism called crazy wisdom, and he personified this quality. Controversial opinion, but in a way, sometimes we can look at some of the people out there who do things that are powerful, but also a little bit questionable or difficult to understand as manifestations of Dorje Drolo. One thought that comes immediately to my mind is the recently deceased Alexei Navalny in Russia, who was a very controversial figure. He was a rebel. He was an outlaw. He spoke out. He was a protester and an activist. He did grandstanding. He did big things that brought people's attention. He didn't mind speaking out in public. And interestingly, when he made the decision after being poisoned and healing in Germany to return to Russia, everyone around him questioned that decision. Why would he do that? Everyone knew that if he returned to Russia, he'd be put in prison, he'd probably die. Why would he walk into that? And with the same bombastic energy that he had had. It wasn't like he went and meekly went to his jail time. He went and galvanized. And then he did die. In this way, he is like an emanation of Dorje Drolo, benefiting beings by doing something so off the map, even up to and including putting himself at great risk and shedding his own body, even up to and including potentially knowing the power. This is so important. The power of martyrdom. We have very few people in this world who truly, deeply understand that power. I don't. You think I'm about to go out there and like lay down my life, for the government? No way. And at the same time, he was a controversial figure. He had some opinions and statements that he made that were questionable. For all of his devotion to Russia, he also kind of had a subtle racism. There were problems with some of his ideology. The complexity of this individual in the political landscape, the potential that 100 years from now, he will be thought of very differently, the potential that his death has to galvanize something that his life could not. All these aspects, they're crazy wisdom. They get you thinking in a direction that you're like, why would that person do that? Why would they think that way? And there's another story. There's like a story in Zen Buddhism of you know, someone getting to go before their master and bring his dinner, and it was like an honor to bring the dinner. And so the person was like, this acolyte was so happy and excited to get to bring the master his dinner, and brought his little bowl of rice and said to him, and because he knew then that the master would answer maybe a question. And so the master accepts the bowl of rice, and the student is sort of waiting, and the master says, would you like to ask a question? And to get that kind of attention, the student says, yes. How will I know I'm enlightened? And the master takes the bowl of rice and smashes it on the floor. And immediately the student is enlightened. Watching this kind of a story unfold, can you imagine being a fly on the wall for that one? Can you imagine sitting there and being like, oh, he's about to answer the question. How will we know we're enlightened? Oh, our minds. We're so in our minds about what we think enlightenment is supposed to be and what it's supposed to look like and how it's supposed to feel. And then, and a big mess. And the instantaneous recognition that enlightenment is the awareness that none of this ever actually changes, that everything stays messy, challenging, destructive potentially, but that our awareness changes, and that changes everything. It makes cleaning up the mess a labor of love rather than a burden. It makes us groveling at the foot of a teacher feel silly. We should feel silly if that's what we're doing. Our teachers are not here wanting us to grovel. Any teacher that wants you to grovel, not your teacher. Yeah, Margot, great insight here. She says a tower moment for sure. Morning, Kat. Good morning, Ideen. Good morning, Leslie. Hi, Margot. Hi, Laura. It's nice to see you. So, crazy wisdom is when you zig instead of zag, when you go off the map, when you do something totally out of character but it can't just be just to be a weirdo. Like it's for the sake of some of representing some complexity in the world in a way that helps others gain wisdom and understanding. It involves taking on the burden of being the person to make a scene. Sometimes it might be the burden of taking on reputational damage for having had a big moment where you allowed your emotions to be free when everyone else was like sitting there in their business suits just like looking at the numbers, forgetting the bigger picture of why we do anything. So each of us today, let's look for those moments in which we can zig instead of zag in unexpected ways, in which we can act out of type. Another way of thinking about it, I actually have like one more little instance of it. And in fact, this might be the most powerful way this has ever appeared in my life. When I was a teenager, my parents read my journals and found out all of the things I was up to, all my little delinquencies. And they got really mad. I was in big trouble. Oh, I was getting yelled at, and it was going to be a mess. And we were just like winding up for the big fight, and I was winding up too. And my dad was so mad at me, he couldn't even like stand it. And he was just like thundering and raging. He was so mad that he was like, I need to like step out of the room for a minute. And he stepped out of the room because he was getting really, really pissed. And he went outside, and then he came back inside a few minutes later, and looked at me and he said, I forgive you completely without any reservations. When I was outside just now, God reminded me, that's his language. God reminded me of some things I did when I was a teenager that I hadn't thought about in a long, 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 long time. And I just want to say, I love you, and it's okay. Leslie says, aw, Dick was the best. He was the best. Leslie met my dad. So, wow, what a moment that was in my life. So impactful. There we were, winding up for a big battle. And then it dissolved. Huge lesson in my life. So if you're a parent, that might be valuable to you to think about. If you're not a parent, or if you're thinking about it with a partner or someone else, think about where you might do differently than what you've done before, than what's expected of you, than what you think you should be doing, than what your emotions tell you to do. How might it be different? Oh, yeah. Oh, we're gonna chant. We'll chant for you and Raven today, Katie. There's so much to be gained in those moments where, without giving up their power and their position as the parent acknowledges their own humanity and the humanity of the child. Oh, some of my most life-changing moments happened when my dad did that. All right. Let's all hold Katie and Raven, because I know at least Margot and Leslie here have boy children who they also pray for and worry about and care about. And I know, let's see if there's anybody else, and probably Kat, there's a lot of moms in the room here, and we're all going to chant for you today, Katie. Change is hard. Kids growing up is hard. So, also, I have some good news, everybody. Last week, we were chanting. Was it last week or the week before? We were chanting for little Luna, the baby who was having the open heart surgery. Happy to report surgery went well, and she's coming home. They heal so quickly at that age. Isn't it amazing? I can't believe it. Can you imagine? I'm almost 50. If I had open heart surgery, I don't think I'd be home that quick. But the miracle of babies and children is that they have the capacity to heal. It's like their cells are built for it. Okay, so enough of me. Yes, such good news. Yeah, and Kat's praying for you. Her son's now 23. Oh my gosh, Katie, like, we're all gonna pray for you, and we'll be here when Raven is older, and you can look back and go, "Okay, well, that all ended up working out okay." Yeah. All right. 3 prostrations before the shrine. Let's make it count. And let's take refuge. Namo Guru Be. I take refuge in the inner teacher. Namo Buddhaye. I take refuge in the great mother of compassion. Namo Dharmaye. I take refuge in the wisdom of the ages. Namo Sanghaye. I take refuge in the community of practitioners. And let's set our intention, a person, place, situation, or circumstance that will benefit from today's practice, holding Katie and Raven and all those parents out there who are on a day-to-day basis trying to be good humans and teach their children to be good humans and also overcome any foibles and challenges along the way. And let's recite the 4 immeasurables. May I be a source of loving kindness in this world and all worlds, bringing a generous heart to all my thoughts and doings. May I be a vehicle of compassion in this world and all worlds, ever mindful and aware of the tremendous suffering of others. May I be a brimming vessel of joy in this world and all worlds, delighting in the happiness of others as their suffering is alleviated. May I be a balance point of equanimity in this world and all worlds, seeing all as equals and all as deserving of goodness. I light this candle as a symbol of the enlightening Dharma way. May it shine brightly for the benefit of all beings. I light this incense as an offering for Guan Xiyin, she who hears the cries of the world, mother of all. Om Ahung. 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 Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind and present clouds of every type of offering, actual and virtual. I confess all my destructive actions accumulated since beginningless time and rejoice in the meditation of all holy and ordinary beings. Please, Guanyin, remain until the end of samsaric existence and turn the wheel of Dharma for sentient beings. I dedicate my own merits and those of others to the great enlightenment. 108 recitations of Namo Guanxin Pusa, calling out to Guanyin and welcoming her, asking her to settle in our hearts and to show us in the moment when we can act out of our plan or our type or our immediate reaction in ways that transform ourselves and the world around us. Namo Guanxin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxi Yin 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 Pusa. And our brief practice for the money reciter of Kam by Gyaltse Tokme Sangpo. Lama Dankun Shiksum Lak Chaksalo, Dakni Changchuk Nimpo Chike Bar, Gangdang Gangdu Kepa de Dang Der, Tadu Tuje Chempo Chetsin Ching, Gusum Gewe Chila Chapar Sho, Jamdang Ning Je Chempo Kunlang Ne, Tuje Chempo Duljar Gerpanam, Lame Changchuk Chola Gope Chir Tuje Chempo Trinle Je Par Sho. Homage to the Guru and Three Jewels, wherever I may be reborn in that place. May I always follow the great compassionate one and dedicate my body, speech, and mind to virtue, inspired by loving kindness and supreme compassion, in order to lead all Mahakarunika's followers to supreme and unsurpassable awakening. May I carry out the great compassionate one's activity. Lama dan kun sum lak chak salo dak ni chang chuk ni por chi ke bar kang dong gang du ke pa de dang der tadu tu je champo jen si ching gusum ge wei chila chapar sho jam dong ning je champo kun lang ne tu je champo jul jar ge pa nam lame chang tu chila go pe chir tu je champo dren le je par sho. And now 108 recitations of Om Mani Padme Hum for Katie and Raven, for all parents out there trying to just do their best with their kids and who are, doing a great job and who also sometimes feel a little lonesome and unsupported or feel a little bit challenged by raising kids in this world today. It's not easy. So that's who we're chanting for, sending it out today to all those parents. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 And let's give thanks for our teachers. May all of my blessed teachers enjoy long, happy, healthy, productive lives and great support for their good works. May all beings benefit from their wisdom. May they enjoy a swift and happy rebirth. And long life prayer for Lama Dechen Yeshe Wangmo. Om Sosti. Through the powerful blessings of the immortal Pema Jungye and his consort, may the three secret qualities of the Dakini of Supreme Bliss Yeshe Wangmo be utterly stable, and may the light of her activities shine on the lotus groves of the teachings and of beings, so that they blossom in radiant splendor. And let's dedicate the merit. May the merit of this practice and all of my activities be of endless benefit to all beings in all realms, beginningless and continuous. May all obstacles be overcome and suffering cease at the sound of liberation. May all beings be free from suffering and its causes. May all beings have happiness and its causes. May we carry the essence of Guanyin in our hearts. Namo Guanxin Pusa. And we close with a bow to Guanyin, bow to one another, and a bow to the inner teacher. Wishing everyone a great day, and I will be back tomorrow. And just thought of something when we were saying our prayer for our teachers, that sometimes our children are our teachers. See you later. Bye.